PlayStation have introduced game trials to PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
For those of you guys that don't know what this is, PlayStation sent out a little email to people to let people know that you can now try games for a limited time.
It's our childhood.
Digitally over the PSN.
It's our childhood.
It's our childhood.
It's demos.
Again.
It's demos.
You can, right now, if you, in certain territories, not in every territory, unfortunately, right now you can download Death Stranding and have a 6-hour trial, as well as Sackboy: A Big Adventure, another PS5 game, a 5-hour trial. And you can play that game until the trial's done. It's the full game. You download it completely onto your console and play it and go wild.
Speedrunners are going to be having a...
Oh, they're going to love it. They're gonna, I can beat this game in the trial. Done. Oh, shit, I didn't complete it. Start a new account. Start all over. Right. Okay, the plus sides to this are... The game, this whole trial thing is being handled 100% on PlayStation's end.
Yeah.
So that means no extra cost for developers because they don't have to program in a demo section and whatnot. Demos are actually full games, but just a section of the game. They have to program a start, they have to program the end, and that takes away from development time and stuff like that. And because it's on PlayStation's end, they don't even have to do anything. They can just put it up on the store and go, this one's a trial.
Right.
Done.
Just tick a box.
Yeah. Exactly. It gives people a chance to try games before playing them, eliminating risk essentially from buying any game. If I had got that for cough cough Cyberpunk 2077, I might have not purchased the entire game.
Right.
And we might have, they got 13 million sales in the first week.
Yeah.
That would have been drastically lower had there been a trial for that game. Right? The game is already on the console, so once the trial is over, you just have the option to just pay the full price and then go. And then you pick up where you left off.
Continuing on is massive. Massive, because it's not like you're going to sink 5 hours into game, then have to go back and do the exact same thing. So you just continue.
And you don't have to download it again. Or
you've got the whole game.
There, done. It's just ready for you to go.
Seamless, smooth.
And if this was to become widespread, like everyone was to be on board and everyone was to allow it for every game on the PSN, this would completely weed out bad games.
I was just about to say, because if a game says, we're not doing a trial, you don't believe your game's worth...
Suspicious.
Yeah.
And every game would have to be good in order to get your money, because everyone will be like, okay, 3 days before so-and-so comes out, I'm going to play... Well, you don't get it early, I should say that. When it comes out, on the day, people are like, I'm going to play this right now.
I'm curious about it. I'll give it a go.
Exactly.
Let's see how I like it for the first 5 hours. Now, question, though, is it 5 hours from the time you download it or 5 hours in-game time?
And now we get to the downsides of this game.
There you go.
So, the downsides of this. The time limit starts from the moment that you hit the download button.
Yeah. However, you can plan it. Oh, shit. The minute you hit the download button. Oof.
What the fuck, PlayStation?
Oof. Even our internet.
Everything you do has to have this side jerk to it.
Why?
Why?
The other thing is, right? If they're saying 5 hours is a bit too much, make it 3. It's a cool service. It's your service. Make it a smaller window. Make it start from when it's completed.
Exactly. So if you have a slower internet, you're going to only have...
What if there's freaking updates?
Exactly. If it takes 3 hours for you to download of Death Stranding, you only get 3 hours to play. If it takes 1 hour to download, you get 5 hours to play. It's one of those things. I will say...
Yeah.
Do you remember the demos back in the day?
Yeah.
How long were they? 30 minutes?
Yeah,
hour?
not very long, yeah.
So even if your download was to take 3 hours, you still get much more time playing the game than you did before.
Yeah.
So it is an advancement. I wish it was 2 hours for everybody, but from the moment that you boot up the game after it's downloaded.
Yes.
I would prefer
that. I would prefer that. That's 4 times what we used to get back in the day.
Exactly.
2 hours is a good amount of time to sit down and say, okay, I've got a feel for the game. Yeah, there might be something here. I'll give it a buy.
Exactly.
Also, there is still that 3-day window. Even if you buy it digitally, I didn't like it, return.
I'm not sure. I think PlayStation.
Because you can return.
I know on Steam you can. I know Steam has their policy like that. I don't know if it applies to consoles though. I think they're a little bit more strict on stuff. I think that's why Cyberpunk and PlayStation had a big falling out because they were like, you can come back and get.
That's right. Yeah. I forgot about that.
So yeah, that's the thing. I think after some feedback, they'll be like, okay, all right, we've worked out a way to find out when you actually boot up the game.
It's
And
not
that's
hard.
it. Exactly. It's your fucking system. Shut up.
And also, like, I'm not too. The idea that, like, I don't even have a problem if it's 5 hours, the clock starts ticking from when you boot up the game, not 5 hours in-game time. Because you know when you're going to try it, right? You can plan out, okay, I've got a free evening here.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it today.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm okay with them. Okay, as soon as it boots up, the timer starts. Fine.
The download though.
Yeah, that's silly.
That's so
even
stupid.
even for us who have pretty decent internet, I feel like that kills somewhere in the region of an hour.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Like you hit the button, you stick it on rest mode, you go and make whatever you're doing, you come back an hour later to check it. It's probably done, but
It hurts so much more just knowing that you're wasting time. You're like,
Right.
this is time I could be playing, but I can't.
right, make it 2 hours from the time you boot up, and I'll be like, oh my god, I get 2 hours, amazing.
This is great. Of a game I never played,
Right,
paid for.
right.
Done. The other downsides to this are, I imagine it's a legal nightmare to get people to sign up to this, because
Isn't that their problem?
that's the thing. That's their problem. But in the end, it's our problem if they can't get it done.
Yes.
That's the thing. You have to essentially,
shit.
allow people to play something they haven't paid for, but then you've paid for people to work on the game. So
Yeah.
negotiating all of that is going to be tough.
There is one other thing from the developer standpoint.
Yeah.
They need to nail intros and hooks.
They need to nail the game in general, and I think that's a good thing, right there.
I agree, but a game like, let's say, I think The Witcher 3 is a good example of it.
Yeah.
Fairly slow to get started.
True.
If you only played the first 2 hours of The Witcher, probably not a very great,
Good point.
particularly good game, but it's an incredible game. Whereas you play something like Miles Morales, and that first intro scene's so perfect, and you're immediately in the action, that it means that game developers have to get good at hooking you in those first couple of hours, but then you run the risk of they get incredible at hooking you and then just under-deliver on the rest of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. It's tough.
It's
Tough.
it's something that they're going to have to work on, isn't it, and nail, because one of my other points here is that while it would be a nightmare to negotiate, and publishers will have to decide if they want to allow their product to be played for nothing, it's a benefit in a way, because it's like the best form of advertising. Because again, they're going to download it, they're going to have it on their system, they're going to get to see it. You're not going to have to rely on someone's skewed review who's going to be biased in whatever ways or have personal conflicts or whatever. And you don't have to rely on going to a website that has tons of advertisements all over the place and you can't
crash
read
your
anything.
browsers and
Exactly.
stuff,
You can just people could just play the game for themselves and then decide for themselves whether or
Also,
not
that's
they
kind
like
of a marketing thing. Let's say someone plays the game, and they're like, I don't want to buy it.
Yeah.
Doesn't delete it, goes and plays that other couple games, and then they're bored and there's a 2-month window where nothing comes out and they're like, oh, that game's there.
Yeah.
And I could pick up where I started. It was good, I just didn't feel like buying it at the time, but I got nothing to play, maybe I'll buy it now.
Yeah.
That in itself, like presence, is a form of marketing.
Exactly.
And what a flex. We're so confident you'll play our game, we'll let you play it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah?
There you go. And the only other down point is that right now it's only 2 games.
Which two?
It's not a Death Stranding and Sackboy Big Adventure. It's only those 2 games. Death Stranding Director's
Proof of concept, though.
That's the thing. It has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But I feel like because it was a PlayStation initiative, it should have been the PlayStation first-party games.
Yeah.
It should have been something a bit bigger. Should have been even
not
if it
2
was,
shit-tier games like those 2.
Listen, I'll have no smack being talk about my BB, okay? No, but it should. If it's a PlayStation thing, they should have hit with 10 first-party games.
Yeah.
Should have been the games that have amazing intros.
Horizon
Ghost of
Forbidden
Tsushima,
West.
Horizon Forbidden West. Well, when that comes out, maybe.
Yeah, if they say, look, Horizon Forbidden West, it's coming out. We're so confident.
Yeah.
We're going to trial this new service. You get to play the first 2 hours.
Yeah.
From once it's downloaded for free.
Games that have like phenomenal starts, intros, Ghost of Tsushima up there, Marvel Spider-Man up there. Games like that from PlayStation first party should have been on the list to start off with. Not a second party game, Death Stranding,
Right.
and then Sackboy A Big Adventure, which isn't even on people's radar. It's
feels
alright,
like
but
Sackboy feels kind of like Astros in the sense of like it's kind of a game that gets bundled. In fact,
I think it's even less than Astros. I prefer Astros over Sackboy.
I also forgot that Astros is on my PlayStation. It's in there. You can't get rid of it, and it doesn't even register for me.
Yeah,
it's a good game. It's all right. Is what it is.
Those are the only downsides that I could think of.
Let us know. Seriously, let us know if you see another downside, something you don't like, or look. Some of the Xbox are going to be salty about everything because they picked the wrong side, so get fricked. But if there's something you see that you think is actually a really good point, let us know, because you might think actually demos aren't a good idea. There might be a side to this we're not seeing, because we have got the nostalgia thing. Like it used to be, you would go out buy a game magazine because that's the way you'd get demos a lot of the times, and it would come with that sellotaped disc.
Yep.
And you take that home, stick it in your PlayStation, and you like select the game you want to play. And that's how I first played Abe's Odyssey. So I played Soul Reaver. So I played SSX Tricky.
Yeah, boy.
Like, some of my favorite OG games. A couple of racing games.
I would buy magazines purely because I saw a disc
for the demo.
I was like, "There's a disc in this one. I'm buying it."
All right.
So
because at the end of the day, it was like 4 hours worth of gameplay. It was games you didn't know what they were a lot of times.
You didn't care.
Sometimes
free games.
Sometimes those discs were basically like blank disc cases, but the disc had stuff on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes the disc had like what was on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was hit and miss.
Yeah.
Sometimes they didn't work. I had 2 that didn't work, and I was so salty.
Like they robbed me of my free games.
So I wonder if maybe we're thinking about demos because like we have this great memory of them, and not seeing something, which is totally possible. Let me know, because I really want to know. It might not. Also, like, what about indie devs?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I presume, because I think a lot of indie games are pretty short, right? Like,
yeah, they're pretty short. It would probably be probably in the range of like 6 to 12 hours,
like
something like that.
Kenner, for example, is what, 13 hours long?
Yeah, 6 to 13 hours.
So if you can download it pretty quick, you get half the game for free, potentially.
Yeah.
Or like, how long's 12 minutes? I know it's not a PlayStation game, but
it's only it's very short, actually.
Right.
Very short. I think it's something like 5 hours.
you could play the whole thing.
That's the thing.
So that's a downside potentially. That it's kind of limiting. It means that you're kind of changing the perception of gamers to go, well, I'll only play a game if it gives me a demo, because that means they've got the confidence to show me the game. But if it's an indie guy that built a shorter game,
and he doesn't do it. If there is a...
Or maybe you say if you complete the game, you pay for it.
Oh, that would be tough, because there's like, now you're forced to pay for it.
Right.
There are, like, Sackboy Big Adventure is 5 hours demo, and Death Stranding's Director's Cut is 6 hours demo.
Yeah.
So I guess for each one they could
That's like 1% of
Death
Stranding. It's such a
It's
long
true.
freaking game.
But it shows that they can set a different limit for each one. So indie games, maybe they want to go, hey, you only get an hour with this one.
Yeah.
But crucially, what you need to do is switch it to the time that we hit the start button, not download.
Absolutely.
That's the thing.
Absolutely. Also, question, do you think they'll become a group of like maybe speedrunners or something in that vein that go, how far can you get in the game in the time you're allowed? Or how far can you literally get in Death Stranding? If you just start running, how far I managed to get from New York to Boston or whatever.
I
like,
can 100% see that happening. That would be great.
I think
Games
that would be
done
good.
quick. Get on that shit, please. Get on that.
Games done quick, yeah.
A question from our boy Diogo. He says, Sony has unrolled their game trials for Death Stranding, 6 hours, and Sackboy Big Adventures, 5 hours, which hopefully takes off for more games too. For some strange reason, the trial starts from the download time, so slower internet gamers will have less time to play, which is a bummer.
Get fricked, peasants.
Peasants, here, get some better internet. Anyhow, can you see this being a counterpoint to Game Pass? Because Game Pass, he puts in a quote here, you can try games without buying them mentality. That is a thing that Game Pass users say, is that it takes a lot of the risk out of buying games. So games that do come there day one, like, for example, Outriders, while I enjoyed the start of it, I found afterwards it was very shallow.
Right.
It was very shallow, and it had some bugs and glitches. And because it came day one to Game Pass, no one had to fork out any extra money for that. So it was like risk-free gaming, they called it. However, you do need to buy a subscription.
Yeah.
you do need to rely on Xbox going out and paying the developer to have that game on the service.
Yeah.
So not every game is going to be there. Whereas in theory, this game trials should be, again, on PlayStation side, doesn't involve the developers
Yeah.
and doesn't take away from the game itself.
I think the way he's worded it's perfectly. A counterpoint to Game Pass, i.e. in the discussion when you say, well, risk-free gaming, here's another way to do it. That yes and no. Yes, in that it is a risk-free way to try the game, which is good. It's not like a counter punch to Game Pass because you still have to buy the game at the full price, which is a good thing, I think. But yeah, in the discussion of like, well, you get to try the game and it's less risk on the consumer side, yeah, and I think that's a good thing. I prefer this way of doing it than Game Pass. I think overall Game Pass, hate to be that guy, but I think it's kind of toxic overall. I think it's toxic to the mentality of the consumer. It's toxic to the devs. Overall, long term,
Yes.
And I think this is better, where it says, look, the devs, we have to perform, the game has to be good, and it's got to be good up front. We got to get our storytelling mechanic. Can't take 7 hours to get you into the story, and as the consumer, we get to look at it and go, okay, well, is it any good? Yeah, well, I like what's here, or do you know what, actually this isn't my aesthetic. It's good, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like if I'd played Kenner like that, I'd go, you know what, this is, but it's good, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
So I won't buy it.
Yeah.
So I prefer this way of doing it.
I think this is much, much healthier.
Yeah.
It promotes good games.
Yes.
And it really severely punishes bad games, which I think we can all agree is a great thing.
Bad games are bad for gaming.
And it makes developers want to go for the extra mile, want to
Yeah.
go for the extra finesse so they can actually go for your money.
Yeah.
Rather than scam you, rather than leave you feeling with a bad game and a bad purchase.
Right.
And again, it's not costing people tons of money.
No.
Like, whereas Game Pass games are costing Microsoft, don't get me wrong, Microsoft has the money to throw away. But it's
The Xbox division doesn't.
It's throwing... yeah, Xbox division. It's throwing away money. It's just throwing away money. Whereas this, no money is being lost. It's just a good service, consumer-friendly, genuinely consumer-friendly, and even in the long-term consumer-friendly
It's
as
also
well.
It's another form of marketing for that game developer, where even if someone doesn't buy it at the time, if they don't delete it and they see it when they boot up their PlayStation, whether you like it or not, that is marketing. They are seeing the game, being reminded that it exists, until they choose to delete it. If they forget about it for a bit, they're going to see it a few times. They'll remember in that glut, like I said. And no, I don't think that will have a huge impact on sales over time, but I do think it will have an impact. It is more marketing. And the one thing we can all freaking agree on is, especially on the PlayStation, but PlayStation are not very good at certain kinds of marketing, and in the PlayStation it's awful. They're marketing, here's the thing, marketing can be a healthy thing. Like, I'm not just saying give money to corporations, but like when someone makes something you want that person to let you know the thing you want exists. So in that sense, marketing is good.
Yeah.
I want to be marketed the stuff I want because I want it.
Yeah.
I want it. I want to know it exists.
Yeah. I will tell you something right here.
Okay.
This one thing could be a real big slap to Xbox's Game Pass.
Does Xbox need more of a slap?
To be honest, to the Game Pass part specifically, because it's a lot of traction. Everyone talks about it. Everyone wants it, right? I think if they make this because it's their own service, they have no one to negotiate with. It's their own games, and their games are high quality, so it's going to sell afterwards.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a trial and then, well, I'm not going to buy it. The people who are going to buy it are going to buy it anyway. Yeah. I think you make this a point after you announce every game. God of War, as final official release date is
whenever
X, Y, and Z, and it's coming to PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, and crucially, you'll be able to try the first 3 hours of the game on our new game trial service for free day one.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Then the next game comes out, Horizon Forbidden West, coming out February 18th. You get to try it on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 completely free day one.
Yeah.
The next game, you get that day one. Say it after every single game, And that's the marketing. That's all the marketing you need. You don't even need to do any more
And you
after
change
that.
the discussion.
And then journalists will pick it up
Yeah.
because they're apparently all pro-consumer and all about these services.
no, it's even better.
And
We'll
then
get real
the YouTubers
reviews.
pick up. Exactly.
Because they'll actually play for 3 hours. They're not going to play a whole freaking game. But, the demo was really good. You should consider picking it up.
And it'll be here, it'll be there. YouTubers will talk about it. Your friends will talk about it. Everyone, people who can't afford a lot of games, maybe they'll just play demos because they want to, and they'll get to experience better, higher quality games. They'll be in the conversation straight away. And again, eventually that will feed back into money into you as well. But that, I think, could really take the
agree.
wind out of the sail of Xbox. This Game Pass.
I agree.